Bon, je suis. You speak English?
Yeah, you speak English or French, whatever you want to do.
Mon nom c'est. My name is Denise Charrier. No, Denise Robert Janine Charrier.
And Mom, what year were you born?
I was born June 17, 1924.
And just for a second, Mom, I want to tell everybody why we're here today. We're here today for my mother is 94 years old. My mother, Carolyn's mother, Eric. And we have grandchildren here and great-grandchildren here. And we want to get a little life story of the history of you coming from Paris, France to the United States. So what we thought we'd do is, and hopefully we'll have some questions, but I'll try to do the best I can to get some idea. But we're going to start from the beginning, and we've already found out when you were born. Okay. And I'd like for you to also tell us your mother's name and her maiden name, of course your father's name, and also the names of your sisters.
Okay. Okay, my mother's name was, okay, let's see, Jacqueline. Well, her name was Jacqueline Coiffier. Then she married my father, beautiful. Jacqueline. Coiffier. Yeah, but Jacqueline.
What was her middle name?
Juliette, I think. Jacqueline Juliette Charrier.
Right.
She was born October the 26th, I think 1894, I'm not sure.
And your daddy was?
My father, his name was Maurice Paul Charrier. He was born June 12, 1888.
Wow.
And you had five sisters. There was a total of 6 children in your family. Your oldest sister's name was what?
Christiane.
And the second sister?
Solange.
Third?
Denise.
Fourth?
Monique.
Fifth?
Nicole.
Last one?
Françoise.
And so we kind of covered from the beginning when you were a young girl and in France. And what are some of your favorite memories? Now you lived in Paris, France. Is that correct?
I was born in Paris. I lived all my life in Paris until I came to the States. I enjoyed the town, the city. My mother was very good about it. Every weekend, on Thursday, we didn't have school in France at the time. And she took us all over Paris to see the city, how it looked like, and the different place. And I live on 6 Boulevard de Port-Royal. That's where I was born. And
one thing that we were talking about to you and I earlier today, and I thought it was very interesting, and I think everybody else will find it interesting, is that we've always joked in our family about we have royal blood, about blue blood, and we've always joked about that. But when you were telling me that there is possibly some truth in that, it was from one of the ancestors on your mother's side. Is that correct?
Yeah.
He was supposed to be a marquis or something in the reign of what? Yeah. Was it Louis the 13th or Louis the 14th?
No, I found his picture the other day, but I don't know if I'm reading.
Well, maybe later on we can even take some pictures of that.
Yeah, no, but I want to see, tell you what
his name was?
I discovered. Yeah, I found it today. What did I do with it? Okay. I put it before I came, because I could remember myself. What is it?
It's okay, we know her. But this was, we were talking about it, and this was a picture she has of the family member that's supposed to be our lineage to the, if they still had kings and queens in France.
Yeah, where they have also the castle.
There's a castle from where he lived.
What did I do with those?
That's okay.
Let's see. I'll get it. I know my stuff.
So does that make me Prince Christophe?
Well, you could be. Well, actually, I think when we had figured one time before that we would be, Carolyn and I would be, we wouldn't be counts, it would be viscounts. She would be a viscountess. So you would probably be a Vivi count.
That's better than
That's
no
okay.
count.
That's okay. We're going to talk about some other things. But anyway, as I remember, you said this was on your mother's side. So
okay, wait.
Okay.
I found it. Okay, that was on my mother's side. It was
It's okay, Mom.
Think about it. That's
Okay,
okay.
but we find out after a while too.
Well, yeah, I hope so.
Now you told me that his name was Marquis to something Coiffier, because your mother's maiden name was Coiffier, right?
Well, yeah, but that's what I said. I had just find it and I was going to tell you more about it. I don't understand. What did I do with it?
That's okay.
Yeah, I know I put it in there. Let's see. Oh, here it is.
Okay.
Okay, and who is that, Mama?
It's
Now
a
this is the actual man.
Okay. Instead, they call him Saint-Mars. Saint-Mars.
Well, hold it up so I can see it.
Okay.
And I can maybe bring it over there, Randy. You can take.
No,
a
I
picture.
can zoom
you
in
see
on it.
Zoom in. Okay, turn it like this.
Well,
And
see,
this is the guy that we think is our,
Is that the castle?
and this is the castle he owned, that he lived in. Can you see those okay, Randy?
Well, one at a time.
Okay.
Okay. Now the castle.
That was on my grandmother's side of Clarkview.
Cool.
And
Okay.
My mother had gone to see that place. That's what she wrote there. She the address of the castle, and she wanted to be close to it. That was not in Paris. That was out of Paris.
And
Someplace.
you think it was during the reign of Louis the 13th or
Let's see,
14th?
that's
Do you
what
have
I'm
anything?
saying. That thing, the castle was built in 1627.
Okay.
They had the Marshal Defia, the father of Saint-Mars. Saint-Mars, that was, they call him Saint-Mars, that was his name. But
Okay.
that's him, that's his picture. Let's see what they say here. He was born in 1620. He was a friend with Cardinal de Richelieu.
Well, Richelieu is very
Under
popular.
Louis the 13.
Louis the 13th. Well, see, now we know that.
Yeah.
Cardinal,
He
huh?
wanted to marry the Gonzian. Well, whatever, it's not important. But that's
That's good. That's enough. We just want to get a little idea. And Cardinal Richelieu, if that's pronounced right, in French history, he was a big part of the when the beheadings happened and the revolution.
Revolution.
He was a big part of it. So that's a big thing.
Yeah, with Richelieu,
Now-
there was a.
From there, we were talking about, and then as you grew up, of course, this is things that we talked about. That you had told me one time that you spent, that this was kind of common, that people would go like from time to time, like to a boarding school, and I think you had told me you spent a
I
time,
spent 4 years in boarding school.
and you left from Paris,
I was about 6.5 years old. Same thing, I was 11, 12.
Huh?
and she went.
6
she,
years old?
Yeah, and but see the way that was, she had a sister that was,
Let's do interact, that's okay.
she had a sister that was a
My
little
sister
sickly.
Solange was 5 years older. Well, the doctor recommended that
So
she
you're
would
going as a group.
leave Paris
Just the two of
because she was having problem with her back. So they didn't want to leave her by herself. I was next to her, so they put me in there. And they said, well, after I was there, I was okay. It was not too far from Paris, maybe 20 miles or something like
And they
this.
would, her mom and dad would come see her on the weekend.
Every Sunday they used
But
to come
that
see
was
us.
kind of a big thing.
So
I
my
heard
father
about
had a
that.
car. Everybody go to boarding school. In fact, all my sister, but Monique is the only one who go to boarding school. We don't know why, but she did go to boarding school.
And Mommy, you said the nuns used to slap you on the hand with a ruler if they didn't make their beds very nicely, huh?
What?
You
If you
didn't
didn't
tell
make
us?
your beds very nicely, was the nuns kind of strict a little bit? Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, they was a little strict.
Because she was strict with us if we didn't make our beds
And we
nice.
had to change our bed. Well, every turn the mattress over. Oh yeah.
Well, tell us.
Now from after this happened in this period of time, she spent 4 years in the boarding school, and you came home. And at what age were you? And I guess the next big event in your life would have been. I know your daddy passed at what age, Mama?
He
When
was 50 years old.
and he had spent time
when
in
I
war.
was just, he died, but a couple of years. He died in 38, and the funny war in France started 39-40. See, we started before
Right.
all that. And it's a good thing because if he would see the German living in his house, I think that man would have a heart attack right there.
Because her daddy was in World War One in
Yeah.
France, and then he came back and he had gotten gassed,
Yeah.
and his health was never the same when he
Yeah.
came home. Is that correct?
Yeah.
He was never the same.
Yeah.
Now you had your oldest sister died just before the invasion of France, also, right?
Yeah, because her husband, she was married,
It was Tom
and he was
Christian.
an officer in the French army, and he had become a prisoner. The German took him, and the story I have to tell you that was so funny. She used to tell us he told us that when he came back. He was they shoot at him or something. So they told him to put the pants down, and they had the bayonet, the fusil, in case if he back up or something.
We're gonna stick him in the behind with the bayonet.
That's true. That's a true story.
Now, whenever y'all realize, I guess the big event, whenever y'all realized that France was getting ready to be, the Germans were coming to take over Paris. And of course, there was just 5 girls. Five of you girls.
So my older sister was there already.
Now, and mommy, your mother went with y'all. And did you have your grandmother with you also?
Yeah.
And her name was what we call her?
Mimi.
Mimi.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember? I mean, what was your feelings whenever you realized that the Germans were actually going to be coming into
Well,
France?
they told us that
Well,
the Germans
how
were
old were you? You know, how old were you whenever this was
Okay.
occurring?
When my father died, I was 14 in 38. 39, 40, I was about 16, I would say.
That's when they were coming.
They told us the people live in Paris, they better move because the Germans are coming. They didn't know they were going to bomb Paris or not. So we decided we moved to our country home, which was about 20 miles, I'm not too sure exactly. And so we got there, and all of a sudden they said, it's getting bad, they're going to bomb and everything, so you better move. So we decided we go to see some relative in southern part of France. So, well, my father had a car, but nobody knew how to drive it. My father was dead. My brother-in-law was in Germany. He was in a prisoner. So the lady lived in that little town there, which you went there to that little town. We went. You all went.
Where did we go?
Yeah,
Where that's country home?
cherries and everything.
Oh, yeah,
Country
yeah,
home,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely, uh-huh.
Okay. And in fact, I got the picture of something.
So what was it called? What was the name?
Saucier.
Saucier.
So we went there, and then the lady said, you know what? We got some horses there and a carriage there. She said, I'm going to take you there. So my grandmother, my mother sat in there, and we were walking along. And my sister had a brand new bicycle. I never forget that.
What's this?
Solange.
Okay.
So I didn't want to use that bicycle. I said, I don't want the German to take the bicycle, so I had to carry her on the bicycle. So we left on the road, bumper to bumper. If you think it's bad here, you see that. And there, the the Italian, were coming bomb us, and there's nothing we could do. And they had kind of blew up some bridge going, so we don't know if we could go across the Loire River, but we didn't know what's going to happen. So finally, we keep on going and going, and then they said, you better stop now, the German already going on their way. So we went in a barn. There was some farmer there, and they said, go ahead and we're going to hide you in the barn there. Well, what happened before that, we stopped to spend the night. It's a big building, and they bombed the night before and the night after we left. I never forget, I don't know, we slept with our clothes and everything, probably didn't bed or nothing, and it was a stone, it was like my pillow. So the next day we left, and we went to that farm, and the farmer said, it's not safe to stay in the farm, we're going to have to go to the
Caves?
Yeah, to the cave. So we went to the cave, and here my grandma was with us. I don't know what she was, maybe in her 70s. In those days, they were old when they were 70. So everybody got inside in there, and we said, pray, open that thing, didn't go. So all of a sudden, we heard the German and the French, they had like a record. And the Frenchman surrendered. Frenchman surrendered. It was in French, you know. So, and then we could hear all kind of fog going on, everything, and we were inside there. If they would read that thing, we were all dead. Finally, it got quiet. So one of those guys that took us there, they went outside and they see dead horses and everything, that the German had left, the French had left. So I said, we're safe to go. So we went back, and they said, well, you guys want to go back home now, the German are here. So I never forget, we went to a store, and that's the first time I saw 2 German guys, some young fellow, 16, 17, on big motorcycle, big glasses like you see them. And then we head back to Paris, to France, to Paris. I mean, not to France, to our country home. So when we got there, after seeing sometime, I'm not too sure what happened.
Yeah, the time frame and stuff.
So I remember we got to our country home. We saw two German soldiers outside the gate, the door. So, and we tried to examine, we couldn't speak German. We were there to let them in, they wouldn't let us in. So my mother, I said she was a lady, she was from Luxembourg, and they speak German there. So she told them that what happened. He said, well, wait, I speak German. So she came, she went in, and she said, Madame Charrier, that's her house. And she had 4 daughters with her, and she needed a place to stay. So you had to come in. But I found out he was a German, what do you call that, headquarters there. Oh yeah, they took over our house. They already took the bedroom and everything. And I'll show you later on the picture. We had 3 bedrooms on the first floor, and they sleep on one, and they could lock the room on that side. And we had to put some bed and chair back, you know. And my mother had a bedroom, and my 2 sisters and I, you know, we were sleeping. So that's what I thought. You'd take a drink right now.
Yeah. Might help you remember a little bit.
Let me take a drink right now. And didn't you say, while you're taking your drink, didn't you say that they would hang pictures of Hitler and salute Hitler in your house?
They do that?
Didn't you tell us that they would hang pictures of Hitler?
Oh yeah.
And they would, yeah.
Well, that comes the next
Oh,
one.
okay. I'm sorry. Then go ahead.
But anyway, they had y'all basically in just a couple rooms of the house, and
Yeah.
they kept the rest of the house as their
Well, they
headquarters.
took the dining room. They had all the headquarters. They had all the telephone and everything. And they let us have the living room, the kitchen. They could use it. We could use it. And the 3 bedroom. They finally gave us the other one. Because my mother said, you know. And so anyhow.
Well, that's good. Well, from there, and then y'all stayed there for a while. For how long before y'all went back to Paris?
For quite some time, because
I mean,
in fact,
was it a year or so? Y'all stayed at the country home?
I don't
Just a
remember.
few months.
we stayed for quite some time.
But after a while, eventually y'all went back to Paris,
Oh yeah,
and that's where you spent the rest
oh
of
yeah,
the
but
time.
we stayed. The Germans stayed in the house for 3 months,
Okay.
so we stayed there the whole time. Yeah,
Right.
stayed 3 months. But we were lucky because the Germans we have, they were from West Germany, from Leipzig and everything, and they were not bad. What we call. They didn't want the war and everything. You know, they were kind of. So.
Well, then after a while, when y'all, after the war is going through, and I know you had told us some stories about, you know, that y'all didn't have the best of food, but y'all had food, but they'd take the good potatoes and
Oh,
give
yeah.
y'all the bad potatoes.
Well,
But
you
that-
see, in fact, my younger sister talked to me lately, the one that live in France, the only sister I have left now. She said the people that live outside of Paris, they never really starve because they live in the country, they could grow their food.
Right.
They were
everything.
they were the farmers,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Or
right?
they had people they knew. But us in Paris, we could get the clothes. We could get, you know what we did? We get blanket, had them die. In fact, I came with that coat here. But I couldn't wear it, it was too hot to wear that coat. Brown, very beautiful coat. But they couldn't get no material, but we did. But the German, they start rationing.
Mhm.
So we go to the store, we get so many tickets to buy this and that, a piece of it. So my mother went for the week to get a roast. And every day we have a portion of bread. I don't wish we still have that in a
I
bag.
was just fixing to ask you that. Go ahead, tell. A little bread
And there's a
bag.
bag. Each one my mother would cut our ration, and that we had to that. And we could have the other bread. And that French bread, you know, is delicious. But it was dark. It was not so. They had
The
the
wheat and stuff wasn't
yeah.
as good anymore.
It was not good like that. So I had made myself a little bag. I had it until a couple of years ago. I embroidery and everything. And not too long ago, I wanted to give it to Carolyn.
And we lost it.
I don't know what happened. We got ready to sell clothes and everything. She thought he was put candy at she told us to put it on the bag for her, for the side of stuff. And yeah, it disappeared. And I had that for all those years.
Wow.
And tell it what was in there. There was your little bread, right?
But yeah, that's my ration. That's to put my bread for the day.
For the day.
Now, as time went on and the war had gone on, you went through all the things you did.
We said,
Do you remember whenever you started hearing about that maybe the Americans were going to be coming to liberate France? Do you remember when
where
you started?
we had the radio. See, we don't have no TV in those days. So we had to be very close to the radio, make sure the Germans sometimes they would go in the stairs, they'd go in the building, listen to the radio, because they had some Frenchmen or German who speak French, say Frenchman, you don't know that the movie star supposed to be your friend, they come bombing you like Clark Gable, and what is the other one?
Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah, Jimmy Stewart. Yeah, they would tell us that.
Propaganda, a lot of propaganda they would tell you.
Yeah.
But do you now when you realized that the Americans were coming? Do you remember about what year that was when they said that it looked like the Americans were going to come liberate?
This is 1944.
So it was 44.
Yeah, 44.
And so you remember when we started? Do you remember
Oh
when they
yeah,
came into Paris?
because they said when they said the landing, they're supposed to be coming. Then the weather was so bad, they had changed it. They put back, but they left. That night we knew something was going on, because we heard the plane going all over Paris and everything. We were in Paris. We were back in Paris. I can't remember exactly how long we stayed at country home.
Mama, I'm sorry, but what was the situation where you and your sisters all were running at one point, y'all got separated and you didn't know who went, you and Solange and Emily, y'all got separated at one point? Do you remember?
Oh, that was from Charles de Gaulle.
That was where?
Yeah, this was that. We're not to that.
Oh, okay,
this
we're
is
not to
different.
that.
But-
I'm sorry.
Not to that
Okay.
yet.
But tell about the story about you seeing Hitler. I mean, when you were in Paris, didn't
No,
you
it was
see?
Goering, I saw.
Oh, Goering. Okay.
Goering. Yeah, see, we live on the boulevard, because they saw we did live not too far from where they called the French Senate, and Goering had took over with all his army and Air Force and everything. So one day we saw zoom, and it was what you call those cars that don't have no top.
Jeep.
Convertible.
Yeah, staff car.
Convertible.
The Jeeps, Mom? The Jeeps?
Convertible.
Yeah, convertible. And I saw him. He wasn't driving, but he was driving big. You could see him, big old Goering.
Big old girl.
And so when the Americans were coming into Paris, what do you remember? You knew that they were coming to Paris. The Germans were starting to leave Paris, and you knew something was coming on.
Oh yeah, well they were trying to drop bombs there and there,
The Germans were?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, trying to drop bombs.
We're lucky they didn't really
Because they knew they were loose and they were going to have to leave.
Because the general that was in charge of Paris loved the city so well he didn't want.
That was the German general that said he didn't want some of the paintings
I forgot his
destroyed.
name.
He was very
Yeah, he
sympathetic
didn't want
towards
it.
their culture. So do you
Thank
remember
God.
when the tanks came in? Do you remember where you were when the tanks came into Paris?
Well, I remember very well.
Okay, tell us
What
about
happened? In fact, I got picture too. I want to show
Yes,
you that I want to
absolutely.
tank.
And how old were you, Didi?
Okay, was it 44? I was 20 years old, I guess.
that. She would have been 20?
Yeah, 20.
24?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So all of a sudden they said the French army is coming. They decided they let Armée Leclerc division, because they were French, to come. So we live on the boulevard, and they came from the south. So all of a sudden everybody was going crying. We saw the French soldier, they were coming. But then the Germans started kind of shooting. So all of a sudden the tank, the American tank followed them. So they parked right on a sidewalk by us, and I have to show that picture. Because that was really something. I remember that very well. We climbed on the tank. Where is it?
Yeah, that's a beautiful picture. We love that picture. And that's you and Aunt Monique on the.
Et tant pis qu'on
yeah,
a tout
Tony
le
Hawk.
reste. Vraiment.
Favorite
I'll hold it
picture.
for Randy. to zoom
Yes.
on it.
Because that's a great picture. That's okay.
And if we don't find them right now, after we can just pull them over there and Randy can take pictures of that stuff
Yeah,
at the end. It's not something we have to have right
Anyhow, we're gonna take a
Yeah.
break anyhow.
now. Yeah, you wanna take a little break right now?
Well, for a minute, I gotta figure that out.
But like I said, these pictures are not really important right now.
Well,
They're
but we
important,
would
but not
like,
right now.
that is a great picture of her and Emily.
Yeah, but we'll take those
Yeah.
pictures after. We don't have to take that while we're trying to do the thing. So
Oh,
you
she
remember
was
when they
in-
came and you got on the tank and everything like that?
Oh, yeah.
I need to take a picture.
So, everybody was crying of happiness because the German finally gonna leave Paris. But they were on the roof of those buildings and they would shoot at us once in a while. But I guess they saw the tank and those guys were watching on the tank. I remember it was one guy, they were from New York, the one we had. His name was Napoleon, I remember that. And they were watching, to see, they could see. And so far they didn't shoot at us, so they were saying.
Was this the same day that Charles de Gaulle came in?
Oh, no, that's
This was
another
later
story.
on. Okay. So from there, of course, then the Americans were here, and basically the war was over for y'all as
Yeah.
far as that. So what did you do after that? Did people came in? Things kind of got back to normal?
No, I forgot to tell you, I wish I had that book. Really, the street, in our street where we live, they start having fight, the French tank and the American, German tank. So what happened, one day, they told us you better stick inside your house and not to be on the balcony or open your window because we're gonna have what they call the Molotov bottle?
Yeah, Molotov cocktails.
Yeah, cocktail. So, what happened? We saw some tank coming. First of all, we saw a car coming from the Red Cross. It was German. Well, we thought it was some sick people there. The German came out with his gun and everything. So we knew soon what was going to happen. So all of a sudden, the French people, they were still down there. Well, we were in our apartment, we live on the second floor. So they got the grill, they have around the tree. I don't know if you see that in Paris, you see what in Paris. And they put that to help us to keep the tank. But they start having battle, you know.
Battles.
But we didn't see too much because we were kind of hiding behind the window.
Sure.
Battles.
Of course.
She was trying to say battles, and she's.
You remember, everybody, but you know some of those stuff.
Yeah, I remember.
I remember some things I don't remind her to tell about the part when she and Daddy come out of church. I think
That's what I was getting to.
Okay.
That's what I was
Okay.
getting to. Whenever we were talking about this, you had told me here a while back, and I had never heard this story before about when Charles de Gaulle finally came in. Then he was, he came in as he was still the president of France, and he was the French hero. And you told me a story. If you would tell us that story about him on the steps of, was it the church? The
Well,
cathedral?
yeah, okay, he decided to come to France, to Paris, and he wanted to let the French people know that he was so proud of, happy that France was free and everything. So he went to the church, and we heard on the radio he was going to be at Notre Dame. So my two sisters and I, Monique and Nicole, you met, and the neighbor next door, we decided we're going to walk to the church. So my younger sister, I talked to her not too long ago about that. She said, well, she was about 10 years old, so she stayed with my mother, and they heard on the radio they were shooting inside the church and everything, and my mother thought, well, we were going to see in the church. But when we got there, they would never go inside the church. She saw what's going on already. They had some tank from the French army, the Clerc army. So we decided we stay outside, and all of a sudden they said, you better get out of there because they're coming, they start shooting. So everybody said, go in the building. So we went in that building, and I'll never forget, I still see the building and everything. That building, people lived in it, it was some stairs. So we were going to get on the side of the stairs, and all of a sudden, here come a guy with some boots in his hand. He was a German. But anyhow, he didn't do nothing, I guess, whatever.
But they didn't know that he was gonna try to kill Charles de Gaulle, they thought.
Oh,
maybe.
no, what happened, in the church itself, they found out he was a guy dressed like a priest, and he wanted to kill Charles de Gaulle. Charles de Gaulle was a tall guy. And he told us later on, he said, well, he said the way it is, there's nothing I can do. You have to, you know. So they found that somebody shoot that guy, shoot that German.
So y'all saw all of this happen? All that
Well,
stuff?
I didn't see it because I was
But you
not
was in that
inside.
little building at
Yeah, I
the
was
time.
not inside the church.
And just something else to make note, because it's part of history that you unfortunately saw, is that you had neighbors that lived right in the apartment near you that were Jewish people.
Oh, yeah.
So Mama actually knows
Oh, yeah.
when the Germans came and actually took those people away, they left the mama and the daughter, who were lifelong friends. Is still one of them is still alive today.
Madonna.
The daughter,
She's 105.
105 years old, the daughter of the lady, but her father and her brother were taken away, and they were never seen again. So they did know a lot of German people, and this was a neighbor that they knew.
Because they
ended
were
up being-
Jewish.
Because
And
they
he
were
fought
Jewish.
World War II. The father, the man, one day they came with the policeman. They said, you have to go pick up all the Jewish people. And there's a fresh policeman, and nothing they could do. They had to follow the order. They said, if you did. So we heard them walking. And they said, come pick you up. So the son was about 21 years old. He said, no, you must be mistaken. You come get me, not my father. He said, oh, but you know what? The next day they came and picked up the son. So the family, the mother and the daughter, they left. They went somewhere else. That was
They were
terrible.
lucky that they even didn't go. So they were never
Yeah.
heard from again. So just, point in history, Mama witnessed all this stuff. Now, as time went on, of course, you were there and you went back to work and things kind of got back to some kind of normality. So what made you come to the United States?
Well,
Take another drink.
He was another American soldier, but it was no Frenchman. You could see no Frenchman. I never dated a Frenchman because they were not there. They had to hide from the Germans. They were fighting, they were going too young, they were going south for France. So I started going out with some. Well, my sister had a sign. My sister Monique says, you speak English. She could speak better than I did. And they say, so the American, of course, they say that, oh, so they get chest talking, they were saying, well, we're going to go ice skating pretty soon. And I used to go ice skating. So, so anyhow, they at the car, they said, do you have, I said, well, I got a sister, two sisters, but I got a sister. She, she probably enjoyed to go with us. So we start going out, like this.
And her sister married an American soldier.
Yeah. Well, you know Henry, yeah.
Yeah. And then you.
In
And
fact, I
then,
got a picture. I have to show you that picture. Henry, he got married in Paris, and was there my mother, whatever.
Yeah, you show us that.
and so you end up dating an American.
Yeah.
And then so what
What was
brought
his
you to
name?
the United?
Well, it was
Yeah.
getting serious.
Because Mom said they were getting this serious.
Okay, what was his name, Mama?
She didn't want.
What was his name?
No, I'm
She
not
don't
going
want
to
to say
say
his name.
that.
She said she didn't want to say that.
It must have been Fiat.
It was. Mama, go ahead and say it.
No, I don't want to say that.
So she came
He's not
here.
He was that far. He went from Michigan.
Okay, and that's what brought you to the United
Yeah.
States. She came
So,
as
when
a.
I came, I was like a fiancé, was engaged to him.
Mhm.
But then the war, they worry about it that, the war was over. One time
Right.
they called them back because they thought the Germans were coming back, but they had the Battle of Bulge.
Mhm.
But anyhow, then they decided it was time for him to go back. So I had all the papers ready.
She was
Right.
coming to meet him. She was
Yeah.
engaged.
The
And he
reason
was
my
coming to
sister
meet him.
already was married in France, she was already left. She was here in Louisiana, which I never heard from Louisiana before. But anyhow, so
Well, aren't you
the
glad
climate,
now?
the climate.
You're glad.
So anyhow, that's what happened.
So she came here to be, and it didn't work out. When she got here, that relationship ended, and Mama decided to come see her sister in the in Louisiana.
Yeah.
So that's what brought Mama to
Yeah,
Louisiana.
that's why I
First
came.
to the United States, and then to Louisiana.
If I would be by myself, I would go back home. Sure.
So, but she stayed here for a while, and then she started working at Muller's. And
Yeah.
then at that time, how did you meet Daddy?
Oh, well, that was way
Wait, she got sick
way
first. You
before
wanna
that. I
tell
took
about
sick.
that? Yeah,
Okay.
tell about that too.
I
'cause
took
you-
sick.
Yeah,
Okay,
she took
before
sick.
before she met Daddy, she
Yeah.
was in Louisiana,
Yeah.
and then she found out she was.
When I was working at Mother's, I found out I had tuberculosis, so they say I had to go to the place in New Orleans. That was the only place. Said you'll be here 3 months now. Well, I stayed about that 3 months. After 7 months, I couldn't go home, but I had nobody to stay with. Because my sister had a baby, and I didn't want to be living with them, you know.
So here she came from France. Here she is by herself with her sister.
Yeah.
She gets sick with tuberculosis, and for the younger people, tuberculosis back then was a scourge, and you were almost shunned because it was so contagious, and it was such a thing they couldn't stop.
Oh, yeah.
So the only place was in New Orleans for her to go stay, and it was a hospital,
And she
and
would
they did
take
air treatments and
shots
stuff.
in the
And
stomach.
those things they
Yeah, it
did
was-
is what they had to work with. Thank goodness it worked for Mama. But the big thing is, here she was all this way away from home, had come here
Yeah, it
for.
was hard.
It was a tough time, and then she was here and supposed to be in the hospital for 3 months. She was there for 7 months, and then she could actually
Well,
go
I stay
home,
here, because I
Because
I
she
got
didn't have a
nobody
place
to
to go.
stay with, so.
and she didn't know
That's
she didn't know
She had
Daddy yet.
nobody. She had
So
nobody.
she often said that. She said it's a shame she didn't meet our dad before, because a lot of people would be scared to go see Mama
And
because
Daddy's-
it was contagious. But she says if she had met our daddy would have
Well,
gone. But
and
he wasn't
Daddy
scared of
said
him
that,
much.
you know.
And
Yeah,
Daddy-
he would have gone.
And Daddy said that to her. He
Well,
said,
he-
if I'd have known you, I'd have gone to see
So
you.
anyway, so after you came back, you finally was able to get back over here, and you went back to work at Muller's again, Mama?
Later years.
Well, when did you, when you first came back from the hospital over there, where did you came back and did you
Well,
start
I
working?
found a friend of mine,
But that's not.
a girl I had met the first time, but I found with Judy. She found me a place, a boarding house on Pujo. So I stayed there. It got me $60 a month. But I had the insurance with Mother's. And I think Israel was getting $90, so I would pay $60, I got $30 for me.
Isn't that something though? Because back then Muller's had an insurance plan, because I didn't know this about until not long. Muller's had some kind of employee insurance on her. So when she got sick, this insurance paid her. That's like it was like a
Room and board.
a
They feed
policy,
me.
and
they
that
feed-
paid her while she was sick.
I
So
was
that was a
lucky.
godsend, because where would she have
Yeah.
gotten money to survive? So from there, at what point you started dating a little bit in Lake Charles, and then when did you met Daddy?
Well, through that girl I used to room with those
I thought it
girls.
was Miss Judy that mentioned,
No,
was
no,
Miss Judy or
Gladys.
Gladys? Oh,
Gladys.
Gladys. Okay.
Gladys,
Yeah.
Gladys Trout.
Yeah.
Remember Gladys? Yeah.
My name Gladys.
Okay. She used to go dancing, and she knew Lucille.
One of my dad's sisters.
Yeah. And that's the way. One day she said, "You and that day I meet you just back from California."
Daddy had just gone through a divorce and
Yeah.
had been home from
So,
California. not
I
long.
said, "Oh well, I didn't get to date nobody,
But
but misery." So anyhow,
so then Daddy came along, and then y'all met,
yeah.
and
And we dated for a while. In fact, I have to tell you the funny thing, but we decided to get married and go on a honeymoon.
whoop,
Yeah, watch what you tell her.
No. No. I had to make sure that I would have my check. You know,
her little check so that she'd have
yeah,
some money.
we went on my check on my
So they had,
honeymoon.
she always tells the story that she paid for the honeymoon. She had her little check and
We went to
then
Houston.
went to Houston. And so y'all got married in what year, Mama? What was the date that y'all got married?
1951, May 6th.
May 6, 1951, so it's just a few days ago, 1951. And then the best child you had was born when?
52.
Ah,
You were not born before time.
you want to take a little break for a second, Mom?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll take a little break. Do y'all want to take a little
Look,
food break or anything?
Yeah.
I don't know why it's not done, but
I thought it would take.
it's been in there 55 years.
We're on.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, now we're going to continue. We were just finished talking about when you met Daddy, and I think it'd be interesting for us to know. Y'all met in what year, Mama? Y'all met in 1949.
I must have met in 1949 or yeah, we about a year.
About a year or so.
I'm
Got
not
married
too sure.
in 1950. You said y'all got
We
married.
got married in 1950. No. We got married in 51. It would be 1950 then.
Okay, so y'all got married in 1951.
51.
And then y'all moved into like a little rent house or something for a little while?
I can't remember where we stayed. I think we lived with his mother for
For a little while?
on Cutman Street, she had her house there.
Okay.
And then she, where did we move? An apartment on Peugeot,
Okay.
Peugeot Street, yeah.
And then didn't y'all live in a little place on Molding Street for a little while?
Yeah, that's where we rented our house there.
Okay.
That's where we were born.
Okay, that's where I was born?
Or do you want to go to the
Right.
house?
Mama, didn't y'all used to go to Tom and Max?
Do what?
You and
Tom
Daddy
and
used to
Max.
date at Tom and Max all the time, right?
You used to go to a
Tom
place
and
called
Max.
Tom and Max, did y'all?
Oh yeah, we
Yeah.
used to go.
That was a
Yeah.
famous place. And now at the time, Daddy was working where? Was he working for Stedman at the time? Or was
When
he
I first
working
met him,
for
then he worked for Swift.
At the Swifton Company.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I came along in November 16th, 1952. And then y'all bought the house that you still live in today in what year, Mom?
Oh, the year she was born.
Okay, Carolyn was born in September the 30th, 1955. And you bought the house just before she was born?
Yeah, because I was sick on my
So
stomach.
she's still in the same house that they bought in 1955.
Bought it brand new. It was built in
1955, it was bought brand new. They
Oh,
bought it,
funny,
and Mama
apart.
still lives in that house today. And then from there, we went along, and then you had Eric. And then Eric was
5 years
born
later, and that was it.
January 26, Eric was born January 26, 1960.
Yes,
60,
yes,
yeah.
correct.
So from there, of course, you had your sister that still lived here in the United States, Aunt Monique, that stayed here for all these years. And
So she
then,
was about 30 years with me. I don't know. She left.
in all these years, I think it would be, I thought it was very interesting to me as we were growing up that you and your mother, Mommy, you didn't have phones, you all talk back and forth, but y'all stayed constantly communicating. One letter was going,
Every week.
one
Every
letter
week.
was coming. It never
Every
stopped for all the years until
Every
she
week.
died. I mean, and I can say, in our case, I think Carolyn would agree too, that she was, even though she was the farthest grandmother away from us, she knew more about us than my grandparents on the other side of the family that lived here, just the way it was, because it was a big family here. But I mean, because they communicated
Yeah.
weekly.
Mama
never
would
say-
sit at the kitchen table at the house on Center Street and write a letter to Emmett, to
And listen,
to
didn't
Monique.
waste a spot because
Yes.
it was airmail
Right.
paper, and you wrote on the
She
side,
went
the
down,
back, the
on the
bottom,
side,
and
yes,
everything.
absolutely.
But
It was.
I know when she knew about us all the time, and she knew about our
Yeah,
lives.
my
she
mother
knew
tell us everything was going on.
And what year did Mommy come here?
She came quite a few
She
times.
came a couple
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
She met Randy.
I met her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
She
I
met
forgot
Randy
about
several times. Yeah.
And what would you say would be some of the things that you became an American citizen in what year,
She
Mom?
came several times.
You remember?
Let's see, Caroline was little. I was taking to sing at Soguela. They had a bunch of foreign people.
Right.
They had the bass at the time. What year was it they had the bass?
Oh,
That was in the
Yeah.
50s,
yeah,
late 50s.
yeah.
Yeah, and then we go to Soguela, and they have all those people from different countries to become citizens.
Yeah. So Mama became an American
American
citizen, and which is what most people did back then. You came to our country, and you became part of the country. You never forgot your roots,
Yeah.
but you became a citizen, and you became a functioning part of the
So
society.
now I
which
got
Mama did.
Jewel.
And then Mama went on years
Yeah.
later
Yeah,
that they
Jewel
kept-
says she
I wanted to get French again,
yeah.
but I have
But
both
She's
of them.
very proud of
American
her
and
French
French.
heritage, yes.
I wouldn't be.
As well she should be.
Absolutely.
In
And
fact,
she's
when
very
they
proud of
sing-
American
When
heritage.
they sing French, I'm always standing up and
Yes.
singing.
Mama, sing, what is the,
No, I don't.
Nos enfants?
The
I don't know where's my flag.
You lost your flag?
Figaro, Figaro, Figaro.
But Mama,
Mama,
sing,
what would
sing.
you say were some of the things that you enjoyed most about when you came to the United States? I know it was different for you for the climate. That was a big change for you because it was so hot and
Oh,
humid
yeah,
here.
yeah.
So that was some
It
getting
was
used
very hard
to
for
it.
me. I would perspire, I had heat rush in my back, my neck,
And we didn't have a lot of air conditioners
and
back
yeah,
then.
we didn't
did
have air conditioning.
Oh, yeah, we didn't have,
They
oh,
had
yeah.
that big fan in the house,
Yeah,
and
ceiling
it,
fan.
so much snows you couldn't even sleep.
And then
I want to move back to Minnesota. Where you go?
Michigan.
Michigan.
He said he's gonna move back to Michigan. Christmas
Pecking
being
bull.
bad. Okay, something that was that I thought was kind of interesting is whenever you and I went to France,
Oh, yeah.
and the reason I think it was interesting because I know Daddy was seemed to me like it would be a very big thing to be able for you and I to be able to go to France financially.
Well,
I mean,
all of us.
well, no, but I'm talking about when you
The
and I
first
went.
time.
Oh, yeah,
especially.
yeah.
Later on, Daddy
Yeah.
was working,
Yeah.
but I was how old? We had an opportunity to go back to France
Yeah,
when I was
50. It
I was-
50. We stayed 3 months.
I was two years old
2 or 3, looked like from the pictures.
when I went to France. How old was I? What year?
We all went to
2
France.
years old, so I'm
Yeah.
not too sure.
Then the reason we went to France, I'm just and that was the big thing, that I don't know how my dad was able to afford it. I've thought about it many times since then.
We went by boat.
We took a
Yeah,
boat.
we went by boat.
We went
Yes.
from Lake Charles to
It
New
wasn't
York
the
and got
Titanic.
on a boat and went there.
We flew to the train.
Took the train.
Why are you laughing?
But the significance was on my mama's side of the
We
family.
took the train, and
And then you
those
took-
days you used to dress up, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And I never forget, we were little, he was trying to keep me with me, and I spilled some orange juice all over my clothes.
And you had a little harness on me too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I still have the harness. I actually have it.
Well,
It
my
was
mother
like
said
you
that.
see on a kid,
It
and
was
because they were
good.
scared I'd fall off the boat or something. Because I was 2 years old, so I had it's a leather thing that went around my shoulder and stuff.
Yeah.
That way she could hang like a tether, hang on to me from falling off the boat.
It
So
was
and we
very
went and spent 3 months over there. That was a big thing back in
But when he came
1950.
back, I saw he could speak French.
Could he?
Yeah, oh yeah, I spoke French there. So we came
My
back.
sister would come pick him up. She said, "Don't worry about it. We take care of it." And they speak French all the time. Well, so he came back, and his father said something, and he looked at me. Daddy est fâché. My father is mad.
But
All
there
he
is-
spoke was French when he came
Yeah,
back.
and the reason it was, I guess that it was so big for them to do this for me. Mama's side of the family was all girls. You see, there were 6 girls in the family. And when I was born, I was the first boy born on their side of the family in 80 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
So to them, it was a
Yeah,
big
my
to do.
sister was
So that's why I was
Isn't
so
that
special.
crazy?
you see. Yeah, 80 years.
I guess I'm turning the page.
Yeah, so I think we can revert back. Okay, so we came back.
First girl's
and
born in
then-
80.
And you and Daddy had we had a
here
good
you go.
life and all the years that y'all
And
were
we had
married and
boys.
stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
And then
But we decided we stay on Moline for a while, and then we decided we buy a home. So we looked for a house, and I guess we heard that it was not too much water where we found that subdivision, and they were building houses. So that's why we look around and.
And you and Daddy were married until Daddy died in December the 31st, 1988.
Yeah.
So y'all were married for
37 years.
37 years, and of course, Mama's never left the house, and they have been there ever since. So, is there anything else you can think of that we've talked about today that you'd like to say? That anything that you'd like to say special before we quit officially talking? Because the purpose of this too is that hopefully everybody that sees this, that hears it, or has a copy of the tape that we're going to make, it gives you a reason to go back and visit with Grandma and ask some other questions you
Yes,
might have, because
exactly.
she loves to talk. And as you can see,
And-
my mother today is 94 years old, and she's going to be 95 years old
Next month.
June the 17th,
Yeah.
and her memory is still very, very good, and she still remembers dates better than I do, I would say.
Absolutely.
And so, and she loves to talk about those things too, huh, Mom?
Yeah, I do.
You love to visit about. So there's not any questions that you, if you have something to ask, it's a good excuse to go. And of course, we're going to try to make sure that everybody, all of the grandkids, get a copy of this tape that will
Right.
take
And
care of
now,
that.
Please make note that Randy and Becky and Sonia really promoted this for
Yeah.
us tonight, and how
Well,
much we
that hasn't
appreciate
been
it.
said that
Randy
this
is the first son-in-law,
is, right.
and Becky,
Becky,
is his
his wife,
wife,
had taken
and
the time.
Sonia, our daughter-in-law. Really, we've been talking about doing this for years, and they promoted this
Right,
for
and
us.
finally we got it done today.
Yeah.
And I think while we're talking here at this time, let's just take a second and help. We're all going to try to remember. Let's go down the line and let's name every descendant that we have right now for Mama. So at this point in time, and today's date is May the
8th.
2019. So as of right now, we can start with whichever. We can start with me and my children. And we want to name here
Right.
all the descendants that are alive today
Right.
from Mama, okay? So starting with me, of course, I'm the oldest son.
Oh, you gotta say it.
Yeah, my name is Alan, and I have 4 children that are living. And my children's name are Candy, and then we have Jade, Chloe, and I have a son named Alan Jr. His name is Maury. And we have one grandchild. On my side, I have one grandchild, and her name is Madison. My wife is Stephanie, that's with us here today. Now, Carolyn, if you'll name all of the people in here.
I'm Carolyn. I'm the second one. I'm Carolyn, Janine, Solange, Newman, Goodlow, Viator. And Randy and I were married, and we had Jean-Paul Goodlow, Michael Jean-Paul Goodlow, and we have Christopher Shane Goodlow.
Cardinal Christopher.
Cardinal Christopher Shane Goodlow. And he now has 2 beautiful daughters, Elizabeth Claire Goodlow and Camille Marie. Point blank. And he's married to Sonia, our beautiful stepdaughter. And we're daughter.
And then go down Jean Paul's list.
And Jean-Paul is married to Ashley Goodlow, my other daughter-in-law. I said that incorrect, I'm sorry. And he has 3 sons, Braden and Connor and Evan. And we are so proud of all of them.
And then with our other brother is Eric. Eric is the youngest child of Mom and Dad, and he has no children. And so I think we have named everyone that is a living descendant of Mama at this time. Did we miss anybody?
I don't think so. But I just want to make a note again to Randy, my first husband, who is the father of my 2 sons, and his wife Becky, for helping us promote this, and Sonia as well. We're so
And one other
special.
person that we did, and I consider her a descendant too, is our father was married before
Yes.
that mother, and we have a half sister.
Absolutely, Ellen.
Her name
Thank
is
you.
Robin.
Yes,
Right.
Stephanie
absolutely.
thought about this. Her name is Robin, and of course, in every way, shape, or form,
If
we've
they could be
known
here,
about
they
her.
would, yes.
Mama's, she has
Absolutely.
been part of Mama's life. Mama's been part of her
Absolutely.
life from the beginning. And she
Yes.
she is married to Vaughn, and she has no children. So again, if we're forgetting anybody, it seems like there's more left of us than this, but I
Can you
guess
think of
not.
anybody, Steve?
Now, we have stepchildren on the side. Steve has children.
Yes.
And we have, like
Right.
that.
Well, yeah, my current husband Steve has 2 children, Joshua and Sarah, and they have children as well. So we are blessed all the way around.
Can you think of anything else that you want to say, Mama? I think we had a good meeting. This is what I hoped we'd
Becky, do you
accomplish, and I
have
think we did. Anything you'd like to say?
Camille. I thought you had Camille.
Just a
Yeah, I've got
hat.
Elizabeth baby.
Okay. Any questions that you can think of, Becky, or anything, Randy, that you can think of, because you've been around?
Yeah.
Anything you can think of that would promote anything?
No, I mean, this has been very special. A lot of things I never knew that I heard tonight, even though I've been close to the family for so many years.
And there's some of the stuff tonight that even I talked about. I didn't even hear the little story that Mama told about de Gaulle, and then the guy that was dressed in the thing. I heard this story maybe 2 or 3 months
Recently,
ago. I don't
right?
know why
When
we
he
were.
came back about Notre Dame,
Right.
that's
Yeah,
what
Right.
I
and I
thought
mean, I don't know why
Yeah,
this came
Notre
up,
Dame, yeah.
but I didn't even
Right.
know that story.
Right.
And I'm
Did
sure
you go
there's,
to Notre Dame?
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm so glad we got to go.
And there's probably, there are hundreds of other stories, but that's what we want to emphasize to whoever ends up watching this tape, that as long as Mama's here, she's sure willing to talk about it. So
Absolutely.
take that
Yeah.
moment, give her a call that you're coming. I know she'd love to come, and she'd be glad to share it with you. So I can't wait to get this and get these to
I
my
know.
children too,
I know.
and we can get it to everybody
Kristen,
else.
you
I've
got
always
anything
thought it was
that you wanna-
an important part of history that when y'all were in the country home with the Germans, that even, you would think here, you just have these women and these young girls and you have the Germans, but y'all were not abused and y'all were not
That's right.
mistreated.
Right.
Your food was rationed and you didn't have all the wonderful things in life, but no one abused y'all
No,
or
that's true.
harassed you in
Yes, they
any
did.
inappropriate manner.
No,
And-
They were very
Yeah.
Respectful.
And they were fortunate because, like Mama
Yeah.
said, the Germans they had were the young ones that
Right.
didn't
Well,
care for
Well,
it
their
was the regular German army, not the SS.
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So I've always thought that
They
was
even
it.
said in many instances that they were there because they had to be. Is that correct? Is that what you told us? Yeah.
The second batch we had,
We're a little bit.
those left, they were SS, and they were mean. And they said this a couple of weeks, they didn't stay, but we were kind of scared with them. You know,
Now,
they-
there was a story you told me one time about a young man that kind of acted like they were going to be ugly or do something inappropriate, and one of the higher ranking German soldiers put a stop to that.
Oh yeah, he was trying to see in the bedroom on the floor where we had a bedroom. They wrote private. Oh, I forgot to tell you the other story too.
Okay.
Anyhow, and one time he knocked at the door. He knew he was not supposed to. Well, he opened the door. So I was in the bedroom, doing something. I don't know, I was cleaning back in the bedroom. So I said, "What you doing here? I can understand." And I guess he could understand a bit French. I don't know. He was not supposed to. I reported him, and they fussed at him. And one day, they saw one of the German. He had gone upstairs in a trunk. My father had those outfit he wear when he was in New Caledonia, white. He was walking in a yard there. So they fussed at him and everything, and they told him you're not supposed to dig in there. You know, they were fair about that. You know,
Well, that's good.
but that's
Okay, well, I think it's a wrap. If everybody else,
Well, but you know what I would like, Randy? I would really like everybody. Can you focus on Mom, and then like you go sit by Mom, and we'll go sit by Mom, and Becky go sit by Mom, and Christopher and Sonia. But let us all get a shot of everybody
Yeah,
here.
Sure.
get in there, Randy.
Steve, go sit by, and I want you to be a part of this so much. For what you, like I said, you and Becky and Sonia.
Good.
I had nothing to do
Yeah.
with it. I'm telling you, I really didn't.
well,
I really didn't.
you,
it's
well,
wonderful.
you know.
Yeah, but we need to do this again, like in a couple weeks, a week or two.
Yeah.
And
I
I'd
mean,
love, I
When
wish
Jean
so
Paul
bad
didn't
Jean
come back
Paul.
down,
Especially-
I wish so bad Jean Paul and them were here.
Yeah.
But I'm so thankful.
but bro, Mayor, I guess I got a question: is how do you feel overall? You know, your life experience. I guess you know, having to go through so much. I mean,
Positive, huh?
yeah, but you're probably the most positive and
Right.
strong person in our family right now.
Absolutely.
And how do you? Obviously, you've overcome so much, but how? You know, what's your overall take of life right now? I mean, you know, what are your regrets, if you have any? What are?
No, the only thing, there's a lot of time
What do you miss? What do you
Been so far
enjoy as
away.
much?
well, like when death would happen, or some sickness, so far away from my family.
Yeah.
Because we had with Skype, we don't use it too much anymore lately. For a while, my sister was sick. I could see her, now we don't do too much. Jean, but you know, he's still alive, he's 92, so he's not well. But if you talk to him, he go over, and I don't call him too often because, you know.
Just for information, Jean is the husband of one of her sisters.
On Nicole.
Yeah,
Named
yeah,
Nicole,
I remember.
and he's
He went
still
play
alive.
golf with
Mama,
him, I
at
think.
this date, Mama has one sibling that's
She's the
alive,
baby.
and she was the baby. She is 10 years
She's
younger than me,
80, she's 11 years younger than me.
11 years younger than Mom. But that's the only sibling that she has left.
No, I mean, I have a happy life here. I'm not sorry. I'm sorry to all what happened to me. Because I had a hard time first few years when I came. It was rough. Being sick, you know, and everything. But I was happy with my husband. My children were good to me and everybody else. And, you know, I mean, I'm not sorry. I'm sorry to be so far away. That's all I'm saying. It's it's bad because, you know, that's the only thing you do.
Yeah.
And I know our father, my husband loved you dearly, you know that.
No, I loved him too. I did. He was a special man. He was.
And like I said, no, I cannot say I'm sorry. That being far away, you know, that's the only thing is bad. Especially when you find yourself, you know, with the kids, because they were older when they passed away, but it would have been hard if they were younger, by myself.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah, that's good. That's good, Mom.
No,
Yeah.
and I just want to say that we've been blessed. I think we've all been blessed that we've been able to stay in each other's lives like we have.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I
it's
appreciate
been very
that.
special. My mom and dad love you very much.
I love your parents,
So
your dad and your mom.
Yeah, you get a little, yeah, Randy,
Both stand
so
with
you can get
Becky.
some pictures or something.
That was very nice.
Well, that was good. I enjoyed
We
this.
are so glad.
Thank you so much of you to do
We
that.
are so glad that we finally got to do this.
Well, we talk about it, but it was hard to get together, you know.
We get busy
You got it?
and we think about
Yeah,
it
we'll
and
figure it
then
out.
get sidetracked into something else.
Don't push the red button. Tina, you're never supposed to push the red
But
button.
I missed
put the
part
wide
of it.
angle lens on.
I missed part of it, so I don't want to really ask you questions that you've already been through, so I'll have to watch it.
Family question can see cover. So I can cover everything, but I'm trying to remember things that are important. You know?
Well, like how did y'all know when to evacuate? Did they send out did they come on the radio and tell everybody to evacuate?
Well, yeah, when we were in Paris, they had a radio, and they would let us know.
And y'all had to walk to your country home?
No,
No?
I don't know how we got there, to tell you the truth. I can't remember. Either we got the bus to go, car, the car was in the garage, in the control, but nobody could drive
Yeah,
it.
he said nobody knew how to drive.
Nobody knew how to drive?
Yeah, my older sister, so long, but she never drove. She learned how, the only one learned how to drive, but she never did drive.
And so she didn't drive when y'all left Paris?
Well, no, she was gone.
Oh,
She
she
worked
was
for the
gone.
telephone company.
Oh.
So she had to leave by train to go to the south part of France. See, they told everybody you got to get moved to the big cities. Because they're going to come and bomb Paris. They knew they were going to bomb Paris. And luckily, like I was telling everybody early, the general, I forgot his name, Newman, I forgot, the German general, he was in charge of Paris. He didn't want to be destroyed. He loved Paris. He lived there 45 years. What was his name?
Goring.
I got the
No,
book.
not Gordon. No.
She said the one that liked Paris?
Well, no, Goring did, but there was another regular army general
Yeah, I got the name of his
Dietrich von Schultz.
Okay.
What's the name?
that
Dietrich von Schultz.
he was
Oh,
like,
Schultz.
But you don't say what. Well, I don't know. If I see the name, I would know.
German general who served the Royal Saxon Army during War.
Well, sausage, no. But look at the one that was in Paris during the war.
Yeah.
Live in Paris.
Raoul Nording.
He was in charge of Paris. He was in charge of Italy. And he loved the city so much.
Dietrich von Schultz was a German general who refused to destroy Paris.
that's him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Watch your big old son.
Schauspich, yeah. That's it, probably him, yeah.
Yeah,
It says the
because
one.
Hitler
Yeah.
said destroy Paris, and he said no.
But the general refused. Yes, that's right. He was Paris. They wanted to shot. Yeah, that's true.
So when you arrived at your country home,
Yeah.
were the Germans already there, or
Oh,
did
yeah.
y'all get there first?
Oh, yeah.
They, I know,
Yeah. And what
So-
happened, I
Were
forgot
y'all
to mention.
surprised?
No.
Well,
very
you see
shocked?
what happened, we found out later on, the French army, some French soldiers, they found out, spent the night in a home, they were hiding from the German, and that lady used to still live there, she didn't come with us, she was too old. They asked, the German asked her to go in a house, and they were behind her. In other words, if the German would be there, they were guns were up, yeah, they were right behind her. And she told us that later on, you know. So I guess the French, they knew the Germans were watching for them or something, they were hiding, I don't know. Maybe they were prisoners and they escaped, I don't know too much. I don't know. But, well, yeah, they've been already set up. They must have been there for a week or so, I don't know.
So were you frightened, very frightened when you saw the Germans were
Well,
there?
You know, I was young.
Grandma, do you remember what made them leave your country home? What made the Germans leave your home?
They were going to England.
Okay. They never made it. So
But
they
knew, because one guy, he was so nice. He used to ride a big motorcycle, and he had a girlfriend. I forgot what they called it. I had learned a bit of German, you know. And he said, we're never gonna make it to go to England. They're gonna stop it before. Hey, we never heard from them, so I don't know what happened to them. I don't know what happened. And he was one or two. They lived in a big house. The people were dead already, and he could play the piano beautifully. He was from West Germany, from Leipzig. Oh, and they were nice. He was never married. The other one, oh, I forgot to tell the story. Another one who lived with him, they were officers.
This is what happened.
No, but his name were, I forgot what his name. He had a little daughter named, the same age my little sister. She was about 3 years old. And one day he said, can I hold the little girl in my lap? So my mother said, yeah. Well, he said, we were sitting outside, you know, in the front yard. And he said, please, if you don't mind, when you go back to Paris, my mother was going back and forth so that we could go see what's going on. I'll give you some money to buy a little dress. Yeah. I mean, you know, and they were good. I mean, they were nice. And they were nice to us. I mean, what can you say? They were human beings.
Fortunate, you really were.
I mean,
Oh, yeah, it could have been a bad situation.
then my mother was worried because was one couple of times he asked how old I was. And I didn't put no makeup for 14, 15 first. And was afraid when you were 15 they would take you to the camp so to have children for the German.
Oh, yes, I've read about that.
But no, they didn't do nothing. No, they never tried nothing. I mean, never, I must say, they never tried. They stayed their place. They did. Sometimes we sat outside when it was hot under the tree. It was what kind of tree was that? Not a peach tree, a apricot tree, I think. And we talked. The best son could speak French a little bit. One could speak very good French. And you know, now one told us one day he was climbing the roof. And so one time they go to the little store, they buy all the chocolate. And they call it chocolate. So we said, well, during the war, so for years we didn't have no chocolate, no tea, no coffee for the war. So they were deprived. So they were going wild, you know, to get. I mean, you felt sorry because they were human beings and they were treating us, they were not agree with us. No, like I said.
Doing what they were told to do.
They were saluting Hitler.
They were really, I must say.
A lot of them didn't want to be there.
No, they didn't want to be, they didn't want the war.
It's like most wars.
Yeah.
They're started by a few egomaniacs and
Okay, you two, y'all come sit. Or
Christopher and
Stephanie
Sonia, Christopher and Sonia, y'all go sit,
Chris-
please.
Yeah.
Please, we need a picture of y'all
Yeah.
for a moment.
were on it on the
And then we will too.
I was too, so good try.
Come on, Stephanie, we'll go real
Nope.
fast.
Yeah, go do your
Well,
thing.
no, Yeah. Oh, be careful about
Hey,
not jumping on that.
visit. Do not jump.
You in control?
What she said,
Nope.
Okay, we'll just get one picture, get a little
Christopher,
shot
you
with
and Sonia.
All right, all right, all right, all right.
oh, I
And
smell
then
the
Steve,
war.
You're still attached.
Oh, okay, I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Okay, we'll just take a little picture and
Oh,
then,
okay.
and when it's recording, so we're just gonna be
Yeah.
here. And then we're gonna move on and let Christopher and Sonia and whoever else wants to come. Okay?
Elizabeth, you want to come and take a picture?
Yes, please
And bring,
do.
See?
We'll take a picture with Daddy and Mama by Romeo, okay? Would you please?
Will you go over there and take a picture with him?
Go take a picture with Daddy and Mama.
Come ask Grandma a question.
Come on, go ask Grandma
Grandma.
when
When
she was in France. Go talk
She
to
did,
her.
listen, you hear Grandma?
She said, Grandma, that's you. You remember
She
the
picked a
house?
picture of her when she was younger and said,
Oh,
that's
she
Grandma.
sure did. Yeah, Mama
Ooh,
said
she
the
did
microphone.
exactly
Don't touch
that.
the microphone.
Christopher.
You don't see her,
Take
Grandma?
me on.
Look, sit on Grandma's lap and
I
look
want
at
a picture from you.
No.
Oh,
Chris, look at
can you
There they
smile?
are.
Yeah, look at there.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Do you
That
have
is
Do you have
perfect.
any questions for Grandma?
Ask Grandma a question.
Yeah, ask me a question.
You want to ask Grandma?
Say, what's your favorite color?
Ask Grandma her favorite
Oh,
color.
your
Do you know?
panties.
Ask her, ask her.
Ask
Say,
her a
what's
question.
your favorite color?
You want to know?
Or her favorite.
Green or blue?
Green or blue? Yeah, she's telling her. Ask her her favorite color. Say, what's your favorite color?
My favorite color is green.
Green?
And in French,
Green for March 17th.
That's right. Say Patty's Day.
You know
Ask
what?
Christopher, you have a
In
question?
French, we say vert.
What do you like?
What you mean? Eating?
To eat? What does she like to
What's
eat?
your favorite food?
Okay.
I can't think of right now. I like fish.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Du poisson.
De
Croissant.
poisson. Can you say that? De poisson. Say, can you tell her you like crawfish?
But I like the grilled fish.
Grilled fish.
That's her favorite.
Can you say something? Say, tell Grandma, say, bonjour, Grandma.
Say,
I think we can eat around the edge. of
Say,
the middle.
bonjour,
No, I
grandmère.
think but-
Hey, we'll make it work.
Say, bonjour, Grandma. Can you say that in French to Grandma?
That's right. Say it. You gotta say bonjour.
where's that pretty ring from?
Say it loud.
Christopher,
She's
Chris,
good.
do you remember when you and your brother used to pull Grandma's toes and her hair?
The toes nose. Where's that pretty ring from?
That's from Christmas
Well,
last
that's,
year.
yeah, Caroline gave me that for, what was that?
Christmas, I think.
Yeah. I had some other ring, but they were, my finger kind of shrank or something today. I was missing the ring.
Okay.
Oh, she sounds pretty good. Can we get a piano?
No.
Of course.
So
Next.
what is, I guess, what do you remember most about France before you came here? You know, I guess probably that may be a loaded question, but
Well, I think it's a pretty country.
what's your most vivid memory?
Well, they used to ice skate in the park. Mama, tell them about that.
What?
We used to ice skate in the park. That picture I have at my house.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, tell them.
Roller skate.
Yes, roller skate.
Yeah. The Luxembourg Garden.
Yes.
That's where the big fountain is and all that?
What?
The big fountain?
Yeah. Oh, that's okay. His sister was named Camille, but I don't have a picture of his sister.
Oh,
That's my grandfather.
Uh-huh.
My
His sister's Camille?
but his sister was named Camille.
No, okay. Look how pretty.
And that's the one that's very short. I have a picture. That's not too far from where I live in Paris. They have a big cafe there.
Oh, wow.
What do
Wait,
you,
who's that? Who's that?
Who is that, Elizabeth?
Who's that?
Who does that look like? I didn't know.
Look, does it look like me? Look, babe.
Do you see Grandma?
See Madison and Candy
Oh,
like
yeah.
so much.
There's a
Oh,
Mama's
okay, look,
Talk
that's the
Christian.
garden, that country
Candy
home.
looks like talking.
That's my grandfather.
Oh my gosh.
That's my mother. That's one my sister. That's a cousin. And okay, that's under the tree I was talking about. Okay, that's my father, my grandma. That's my sister that died. That's the other one that died. That's my mother. That's some friends. That's the one that died. Yeah, that was me there. That was me.
Oh, so that one didn't die. That one's you.
And that's my sister Solange. My older sister, that's the one to me look like Christian. That's a relative. That's my aunt. That was under that big tree in the front yard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my grandfather.
It's her papa.
Let's see. Oh, from our country home, we used to see the little train used to pass there. Then later on, they blocked the view. It didn't pass anymore.
Who blocked the view?
It was from our country home.
I know, but who blocked the view? You said-
I don't know, they built some houses, they have all
Oh.
kind of, yeah. Okay, look at that. That's all the sister when we were young, before my younger sister was born. That's Christiane, Solange, Denise, Monique, Nicole. Françoise was not born
Look
yet.
at her looking though.
But you see, I've been there because if you take picture.
Which one?
Seriously.
And okay, that's when my
Randy
sister
did
Monique.
that?
That's grown man.
You knew Monique, huh? No? But she got married in Paris, France.
Who is that? She said.
So soft.
Who is
Don't
that?
bend it.
Go show
Ask
that
Robert.
to
Who's
Papa.
that?
Papa, go show us picture. Let him show you this picture.
The Papa. Papa.
Did you see me someplace?
Papa RG.
Okay. Well,
Tell me again.
Papa.
That's you right there.
yeah.
Good Papa.
Let me see.
But tell me again who.
Christian, that's my oldest one, that passed away. She was 22 years
That was
old.
before the war.
Oh, yeah.
How she passed.
She had pneumonia some of those days. They did not.
And there was
That's
no
it.
medication.
I've never seen
I
this
mean, it was-
She was young.
Helen.
She had been married a year. You remember?
Little fingers.
You remember?
I've never seen those pictures.
Randy.
I'm sorry.
You remember? That was when you get married in Paris.
I've never seen those pictures. That's
Which one,
beautiful.
Mom?
You know who these, you know who all
Mhm.
yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
you want to see?
that's
Okay.
Monique, the one that's the one died.
That's Tony Cole.
This must be a friend of Uncle Henry. I don't know him.
But the youngest one was not born yet.
Oh,
And you
okay.
see, we had a cousin, he would take pictures, that was his job, he was a business. Yeah.
You want to
So,
see?
he was, that's why we have so many pictures.
Oh,
That's
okay.
okay.
Yeah, that's it. I can tell
Yeah,
that was
look
like
at
a
Mommy and Mama.
It's so
Mommy
much clearer.
and Mama.
Mhm.
And
And
who's
the man
that?
must
And
be a
then,
friend of yours.
Mm-hmm.
Think it's back
that my
up?
dad,
they got
he
married.
used to see a picture, he was smoking.
Can put it here?
Okay, I was in boarding school there, I had a uniform.
She's out.
That's my older sister, she died, so long, she was
It's
dead
a
now.
loud, huh?
But my youngest
You
was
want-
not
you want
my
picture?
daddy, you see. I was in the country home.
Want to see that one?
Look at this.
Oh, that's
Can you grab
a, what they call wisteria, wisteria. It was full of wisteria.
Here, girl, there.
That's my sister, so when I get married in Paris.
Hmm? Can you hear?
Oh my goodness, look at your
Yeah,
hair.
that's the sister.
Which one is that? Which one is
That's
that?
my hairdo.
What is it? Just a hat?
Can you hear?
No, that's the hairdo. That's a style. That was the style. She had decided to wear a
Grandma,
Sure
hairdo.
can.
This
Y'all
one's.
look very
That's you.
beautiful right here.
You don't want to take a
You
compliment.
can pull it out.
See?
That was when my sister got married in France. That was her husband.
Oh.
That was his friend. And I become a witness of my mother.
You can hear.
We were hot.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
what
it looks so pretty. So
I
classy.
founded the church.
So this I
And
love.
think, yeah, that was Nicole,
Okay.
Solange, was a very good. Me, everybody.
What were we all going? What was this for?
I don't know, we were going someplace, in a
I can
park
hear.
or something.
Have you seen this one? Romeo's hair. Look closely.
Yeah, you can hear. You got to put it in.
Oh, you're
I love it.
well.
Did you ever see that?
Can you hear now?
Come here, you should go back to this hairstyle.
Oh.
No, that was,
Hey,
that
Son,
was
you
the
seen
style
that picture I
there.
have of her and Daddy up on the top of my china cabinet?
What did you do
Well, she's
with
got
my-
that
with my
long
bathing
hole.
suit?
I don't think
I
so.
brought it back.
You
I wanna-
see me in my bathing suit?
You see?
Oh, I did see that one.
That's just another view.
Very nice
Here.
with the hair. Kudos.
You can hear.
Where is it?
But that was in,
I found
that
it.
was close to well, close to the German were landing there.
Yeah.
So we decided. We
Are you tanning on rocks? What are you waiting on?
We went to the, okay, that's the boat. I came to the stage. Somebody took that picture.
He's
Nice.
When I
getting the
came.
salad ready.
Mama, that's you right there?
Yeah.
That's you, yeah. But yeah, that's what he did. He represented. He would sell products to different places.
But he always
And,
one
he
is
was
a
good.
soldier.
Mom said he
He's
was a
an
good
American
salesperson.
soldier.
He used to pick
He
up-
should be
He
a
was
strong
really
one.
involved in the Catholic Church. He was a knight.
That's
Back when
awesome.
he-
You
when
and
he,
Pops are listening?
when he was
Oh,
very,
what are these?
That was the castle. Okay, look at that.
there was an older sinner to that.
That's
But
you?
it was
Yeah,
had
and
more,
Monique.
more to it
See,
than
my
that.
mother
He had-
wrote,
it was
the
part
year
of it.
1927, about 3 years old.
Wow.
Respectful.
Thank you, doing us better.
And he was quite a bit older than my grandmother. 15 or 16. We met her.
She's got some
Look at that.
He started kind of courting her at that time. He said one day he was going to marry her. Of course, when she got old enough.
Did I show you this one?
He used to
Yes.
play the violin.
Oh, that was the one we called my
That
ancestor.
was a
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I have a
Okay,
mom and
we were playing,
Mommy.
what's it called? Okay, that was me. But see, the two of us, we were always together. We were about, okay, I was a certain age, the other was 4 years. She was 3 years younger, and this one was 4 years. She's got beautiful hair, curly hair.
Really, it looks curly, yeah. But y'all is fine, fine, and straight. This is so cool. Chris, did you see the original?
That's
You see
the
one
beach
with
girls
the-
there.
Was that
Girl
an
wants to show his
American
baby. You
soldier?
want to see
Right
something
here?
sexy?
No, this one is a
The big one.
What?
no, it's a small one. Oh, here it is. Okay, that was a dress that guy was dating. He has sent those dresses. That was, you see, the cliff.
Yeah.
That was close to where they landed. You see, I was there. I was not dating. It was just.
That wasn't your fiance.
That was you in that dress?
I wasn't
Yeah,
taking
no.
photos.
Floral dress?
Other side, other side. In that picture.
I think I had a picture of me with that dress. Someplace.
Man.
We need to get y'all together and them together.
No, we already got it.
Oh, we already got
Yeah,
y'all.
we already got it.
Now you see on the balcony there. Okay, look at. Okay, that's me.
Yeah, you see, I always
And that's
saw
my
my candy
sister and I on the balcony.
Grandma, you need to grow your hair back out.
Oh,
No,
yes.
wasn't
Look,
that pretty?
is that not Candy in Madison? This blows my
Her
mind.
oldest sister. Do you have a picture of tall Christiane? That's the one who looks like Candy.
I don't
man.
know.
Really?
I don't have one there.
What does that say?
Libération of Paris.
Okay, hold on.
Hey.
The reason.
He said, okay, hold on.
That's some jeans there now.
That's
Bear what?
Libération. The liberation, you call that something?
Liberation.
The Paris.
What's this letter?
S. That's my mother's name.
No, B-E-R-A-S.
No, Tion.
T-I-O. Oh, okay, so that's pretty much English.
Okay, give it a shot.
Liberation.
Big
of
shot.
Paris. Where you just
That's a country home. You see, the
Yeah,
bedroom,
we
that's
found
where the
that.
German used to
Have you
live
seen this when we
there.
found the country home? It's still available. We found, what do you call that? when
Wait,
you
what?
find
You
it?
can go to,
We can find
Yeah.
it.
like VRBO or something.
write down the
Google Earth.
address.
Yeah, we found
and
it,
you
we
can
not
go
too
to
long ago.
Google Earth.
Oh,
We
your
actually
family
did do
doesn't
it.
live there
It's still there, yeah.
No, we still-
The house is still there, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
The country home is
Wow.
still
Yeah.
there. And of course, the apartment's still there, you know, we remembered that, but the apartment's still there. Then mama used to tell stories. They used to take, being kind of little girls, the Germans would come by, they'd put coins and put a string or something to them. It was late in the afternoon. And when they see it, they'd pick up the coin. Then they'd go running high, you
It
know.
was mostly for the French people. Eric did that too. When he was
Oh, he
there.
was there when he was there, yeah. But then when y'all were little girls, y'all did that
The
too.
French market over there, La Rue
Oh, you
Moustache.
showed. That's where that's where we get our little mischievous.
That's
We're
right.
gonna, we're gonna
From
walk
you.
and take pictures with Mama, and then we're gonna tell her. I think she said it's ready.
Oh, good.
So let us take a picture with Mom.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We
Okay.
didn't
Did
tear
you-
everything up.
You disconnected it?
Probably. I don't even know.
We're good.
I did more damage than Elizabeth.
God, Sonia.
I know.
I can still hear it.
Well, she
So
went back.
And don't
Just
forget,
kidding.
Mom, we're gonna leave all those pictures with Randy, because he's gonna scan them all and put them
Well,
in the tape.
it's some is not necessary.
Chris is good.
Do-
It's not unplugged.
Do we need to give you some money, Randy, right now for some?
It's been
No.
It's been off this whole time.
No, it's I can hear it.
There's a switch. It says camera or smartphone.
Okay, let me put it back.
Okay, Steve, you get over here, I'm gonna get over here with next to Christopher. Christopher, you stay right there. No, you stay right there.
Okay, wait,
Stay right there, sure.
Chris, cheers your mom with that.
Yeah.
Give her
Chris, we
cheers.
did a
That's
sound
right.
check
Give her
earlier.
cheers.
Yeah.
I did a sound check earlier.
Well, can you hear right now?
Yeah.
You can hear right now.
Well, you
Hi.
see
Can you
those?
hear right now?
Check one, check two.
Well, that's not going to home, and you can see very good.
This
Yeah, it
is
was
Steve
good to
and
stay there.
my mama and my son, my baby boy. And Steve, can you think of anything you wanted to ask Mom?
Thank you.
Isn't it precious?
I know. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something else. And you pretty well covered it, huh?
Becky said it's ready too.
Okay.
Time for a little bit of lasagna.
There we go.
You what?
Mommy, you need another drink?
No. Okay, I'm gonna show
What?
you there. That was pretty. Thought they called it. They still at that place in French, close to the slow place, close to the army.
That's a good
And I
picture.
went 1 year. Special. They had a little apartment there.
Chris,
you wanna see
Elizabeth has a little plate, a little bowl.
Maybe you got it.
Okay.
I think Chris just texted.
Oh, did you just text it to
No,
you,
not
Dad?
yet.
Oh,
Well, get on it.
well,
Yeah,
I done
from
messed
the
it up.
apartment we used to see that.
but that's a cute
See
picture.
the slowly.
Is it the country home now, Mama? Somebody bought it, huh?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we saw that
Yeah.
there.
They no longer have the country home,
Did you see that?
but we have pictures of it. But we no longer.
Yeah,
it's no longer
we
in the
have it on
family.
the on the.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't have her number, so I'll send it to Chris so he can send it to me.
Well, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Randy and Becky, Sonia,
fine.
Christopher, and last Stephanie. Mama, thank you for being the star tonight.
We love you so
I
much.
know, and isn't that the truth, huh?
I don't know. They can speak for themselves. But, you know.
Guess we'll keep her, huh,
Christopher
Chris?
used to go there and want, what was it? Banana pudding.
Yeah.
Banana and eggs.
Banana.
And eggs.
Her eggs are the best. And I always told Sonia, Grandma
Eggs.
made her. You made your eggs
Juicy, runny, juicy.
Chris, talk about growing up when she took you to catechism
Oh,
or
and
whatever.
exercise.
Every,
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
Skipping catechism.
So every Wednesday growing
Yeah, she
up,
said, he said he had a headache. So
I did not feel. I don't know feel
I don't
good.
feel good. So Mama would say, well, come with me to exercise.
Oh yeah, then I was doing this.
All the little ladies love Christopher.
Waiting for Mom to pick me up. Hurry, Mom, you pick me up.
My stomach hurt.
My stomach hurt, my hands would hurt. Huh, Mama?
The stomach.
His stomach.
Every Wednesday you pick me up from daycare, or after school.
To go to
care.
catechism, supposedly.
To go to catechism.
Oh yeah, every Wednesday.
You see the
Okay,
picture?
Mama, where you want to sit at?
Well, wait. Well, she's still talking. Hold on.
Well, yeah, but
Tell-
her
tell
phone's
him.
getting cold.
Right.
Get
And
close
tell
to
him
me.
about catechism. You pick him up and you're supposed to take him to catechism. He said, Grandma, I have a stomach ache.
So okay, well you have to come back to exercise with me. So he go in the room and he see all those old ladies raising up their legs to do exercise. So and the girl came and say, but they were pretty
Oh, look at your eyes.
And you go home and you come and show what I put there used to do.
And then he was, he showed, this is what Grandma did exercise.
I don't remember that part.
Picture in order.
Oh,
That's
it's
it.
all in order, huh?
Yeah, that's the salon, me, Penny, Nicole, that's one. The others one passed away already. But the first time, one of the time I went back to France. And this one that was taking, they invited us to it, I think it was at St. Town.
I was gonna say, yeah, it looks like it's same.
Yeah.
But you don't remember Daddy, huh? Not too much.
I remember he would comb my hair every now and then.
I said, who was it that Daddy
And
took
then
to
I remember
the
his
mall?
tattoo. Yeah, it wasn't me. It'll take me
Jean-Paul.
Jean-Paul
nowhere.
you take to get Jello at the mall.
Yeah, but you said you don't remember.
You don't remember Daddy too much. Yeah, you
I do whenever he would comb my hair in the evening. I go sit on his lap in a chair, comb my hair. Him and Dad were the only ones that combed my hair.
Why is
But
that,
that's, after bath time, it was hard coming. I remember his tattoo, or whatever arm it
Yeah,
was.
yeah, I don't remember. What's wrong with
But,
you?
I know one time you
Sit
were
with Dad
crying
and talk to him. Listen
and
to
they
the
were
story.
leaving. Oh, come on, Christopher.
I think I
He'll be
met
back.
her.
I think it was on his left arm.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was on his left arm.
It was on his left
I
arm, I
think.
remember, see?
On the arm by the door, closest
Left
to the
arm.
door. Yeah.
And it was a bikini, and back then that was, boy, nowadays that ain't nothing.
Right?
All right, we're gonna sign off.
Okay, that's it.
And Dee Dee, you want to say something before we?
You wanna say something, Mama?
But,
Do you want to say anything before he signs off?
Say what's on your mind
well,
right now.
thank you
Say
so
what's on
much. Thank you so much for Randy and Vicky to invite me and be able to talk to everybody.
Or the best advice you could give all of us. Let's end on that note. The
What
best
is
advice.
The best advice you could give all of us. She's got the most positive
I don't
attitude.
know, I'm not too sure what to exactly say.
Think about what you
Here,
think.
give me all these and then think about
Yeah,
it.
yeah, there you go. And what's the best advice you could give all of us?
To
young
be
people?
nice to one another, to raise the children the best you can, and I'm not very good at that.
Wow, that sounds good to me.
That's
good to
perfect.
me, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
perfect. To be kind.
I mean, to remember me, I mean,
Oh,
I don't know,
you're kind of hard to forget.
Yeah.
kind of hard to think of. Well, your hands are warm, man.
We love you.
We
Uh,
love you so much.
Everybody too.
I don't know. I mean, speak for yourself.
If what?
Dee Dee, you are one in a million,
Absolutely.
or one of a kind, I should say. And I am blessed to have had you in my life.
We all are, huh? We all are.
I'm glad to be able to get to see some of our grandchildren. 'Cause,
Yeah.
you know,
Yep. They're blessed.
probably
They're blessed to know
Years
you.
ago, I'm gonna be able to see all them.
Right.
And,
That's right.
I got with Jean-Paul and Yves, and now with yours.
Mm-hmm.
Two pretty little poupées.
Poupée.
Poupée.
They are the big poupées.
Big
beautiful
poupée,
children.
huh? Beautiful.
Two of the strongest people that I know that I've met in my life were you and Grammy. You and Grammy.
Isn't that amazing?
And because if it wasn't for the women, then the men wouldn't be half of what they are. So I just wanted to give you, or say to you that you are probably the most strongest and most amazing woman of what you've overcome in your life. Because I can't imagine,
Can't.
you know, your upbringing, you know, that experience. So
And to be
for
so
you to go
positive.
through that, yes, and to
And be so
remain so positive, I mean, that is amazing,
It is.
Grandma.
It is.
Well, thank you so much.
That is
But
amazing.
I love your grandma too, dearly.
Yeah, but you
I
know,
like both of them, and your grandpa too.
yeah, but like I said, if it wasn't for you ladies, us men wouldn't be as half as strong as what we were. So
You have to keep them in line.
Circumstances, I guess.
that's right. Y'all keep us in line. If it wasn't for y'all, we'd be wild animals. You know? Oh man,
But
that's true.
I didn't think I was going to live that long, and I didn't realize.
Well, yeah, man, you're gonna live till forever.
I know. I'm telling you. Look at her. We could only hope we could.
She
Be
should
like-
probably outlive me for my record. My injuries and everything. You know? No, but your attitude is very admirable. I mean,
So
it's-
positive.
yeah, it's just a, you know.
To have survived war and
Well, what can
tuberculosis.
you do? I mean, something happened, and you have to make the best of it. I mean, you don't like it. It was rough. And then I guess I got over it, and then I had some other problem when I came here. But
And then you met Daddy, and then you had your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, and she never whined, she never complained, never.
Never,
Never.
ever.
Randy, have you ever heard her complain? No.
I don't know, you may have gotten mad at me one day.
what did you do?
What did you do?
Christopher.
C'est Pierre.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm glad you didn't have a boy named Israel.
Ira.
Ezra.
Is that right? I thought it was
Ira.
It was Ezra.
She didn't like Ezra
Ira.
or
For
Ira.
somebody.
Mama.
You're on video. You're on
No,
TV.
let her say it. She does. I love it. You can say it. She's going.
We love it.
Oh, yeah, you still okay.
She said, "Oh, I'm still hooked up."
Oh yeah, you're hooked up. All right, you want to sign off and say goodnight?
That was a hot name, anyhow.
Say love you.
Oh,
Say
okay.
bye-bye.
Bye.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Say
Tout
something in French.
à l'heure.
Au revoir et à bientôt.
Wait, go in close. Go ahead.
See you soon. Vous verrez bien.
En français. Pas en français. Au
Au
revoir.
revoir et à bientôt. Et merci beaucoup de tout ce que vous avez fait pour moi, pour me demander des questions, m'interviewer. On dit interview en français, je crois.
All right, now say it in English.
À tout à l'heure. What is that?
Et je souhaite que je n'ai pas dit de bêtises et que vous comprenez ce que je dis.
And say in English. And say what you just said in English.
I hope that you understood everything of what I was saying. And what did I say after that?
It's okay.
It's okay. It was beautiful.
It's okay.
Beautiful.
It's always beautiful.
So that's
À
the.
bientôt.
À tout à l'heure.
Merci tout le monde. Je vous embrasse bien fort.
We love you.
I love you very much and give you a big kiss to all of you.
Oh.
Okay, we're gone.
There we go.
Merci. Il n'y a pas de quoi.
And a pas de quoi.
Des yeux qui font baisser les miens, un rire qui se perd sur sa bouche. Voilà le portrait sans retouche de l'homme auquel j'appartiens. Quand il me prend dans ses bras, qu'il me parle tout bas, je vois la vie en rose. Il me dit des mots d'amour, des mots de tous les jours, et ça me fait quelque chose. Il est entré dans mon cœur une part de bonheur dont je connais la cause. C'est lui pour moi, moi pour lui dans la vie. Il me l'a dit, l'a juré pour la vie. Et dès que je l'aperçois, alors je sens en moi mon cœur qui bat. Des nuits d'amour à plus finir, un grand bonheur qui prend sa place, les ennuis, les chagrins s'effacent, heureux, heureux à en mourir. Quand il me prend dans ses bras, qu'il me parle tout bas, je vois la vie en rose. Il me dit des mots d'amour, des mots de tous les jours, et ça me fait quelque chose. Il est entré dans mon cœur une part de bonheur